Hey guys, and welcome back to the Worth Living For podcast. I think I've spoken about bullying on this podcast, or maybe a few previous podcasts that I've done. But bullying is just such a really difficult thing nowadays because I know when I was bullied all through high school, it used to only happen at school. It never followed you home. It never, you know, it never chased you down and tore you to pieces. But nowadays, bullying does follow people home. It happens on social media. Bullies will make like memes about kids in a group chat or a particular person in a group chat, and everyone piles on and makes fun. It's horrible. And I was going to try to, midway through this episode or at the end of this episode, give you an encouragement that it's going to change. But I don't think it is. I think it's only going to get much worse. And so I just wanted to be that voice of reason and encouragement and hopefully let you know, especially if you are being bullied, whether or not that you're currently being bullied or you've always had thoughts about your past experience when you were bullied, like sometimes I do, but I kind of just wanted to shed some light and encouragement and just let you know that it does get better, that eventually you get to a point in your life where none of that matters. All the words that have been spoken, all of the lies that have been weaved into your bones, weaved into your head and your heart, they're not true. You're not useless, you're not ugly, you're not too far gone, and you will be someone. Whether that's someone of significant value or just someone that people remember because of the person that you became or the person that you will become. I remember I used to be a horrible person. Like, you would not want to be around me. Like, I used to treat people like dirt, especially my parents, especially my siblings, especially anyone and everyone. Because I hated myself so much, and I hated the fact that I had to wake up every day and continue living. I just hated myself so much that the thought of loving people, the thought of treating people well, was just a foreign concept to me because I felt so crap. And it wasn't until I started going to church and I said yes to Jesus and I got baptized and I did all the things, and that's made a huge difference. The only reason why I'm married, the only reason why I bought a house with my wife, that I am still alive, the only reason all of that happened is because God saved me and set me free from all the thoughts I used to have about myself. And I'm not trying to get all emotional or all sappy or things like that, but I really want you to understand that the only person that is going to make a difference in how you feel about yourself, especially your self-worth and your self-esteem, the only person that's going to change that is God. No amount of material possessions, no drug use, no alcohol, no beating yourself up is ever going to set you free more so than pursuing and having a relationship with God. Nothing else is going to change your circumstance or how you feel about yourself except that relationship with God. At least that's been my experience. I tried bullying others because I was being bullied. I tried constantly swearing any chance I got because it made me feel good about how I felt. I tried, pornography. I tried isolating myself from social interaction for decades, spending time on my own. And I understand that God really used that spending time on myself, that all of those moments and all of those years. I understand that God used that to bless me because it helped me become comfortable in my own skin, and it helped me appreciate the person that God had created. Because, I got big ears, they stick out like car doors. But instead of being hurt or humiliated when someone would say something about them, I just find it funny now. Whereas in the past, man, I'd break down in tears and I'd threaten to kill people or kill the people that were bullying me. And sometimes even hurt myself. But, testimony is powerful, and testimony is something that people can't debate. They can't rip into and try to find, is this person lying? Is this person telling the truth? A testimony is someone's personal experience that they've had that is concrete evidence of something happening that you might have not seen or you might not believe. No matter how many times that person tells you their testimony, you don't have to believe them, but you can't debate whether that experience occurred. Because for them, it's legitimate and it's something that they went through. It's an experience they had. So for me, that's my testimony. My testimony is the fact that God set me free from a lot of the negative thoughts that I had about myself, from the hatred that I had towards myself, and the ultimately not wanting to live. Because I truly believed that I would never get married, that I would never have children, that I would never buy a house, that I would never actually meet someone that loved me enough to legitimately get married and fight for that relationship. I believed that that would never happen for me. And again, not to get too emotional, but I've seen so many people over the years in my life personally, or just people, strangers, total strangers that I don't even know personally. But I've seen different kinds of people pursue different kinds of things that just lead to disaster and death. Like practically feeling more uncomfortable in your own skin and more hatred towards yourself than you had before. And like I said before, hopefully I never lose my love for God, His Word, and His church, because it's the only thing that made a difference in my life. And I can almost promise you this, that if it wasn't for God, I would not be here today. I would not be recording this episode. I wouldn't have found what it means to truly experience relationship with God. I wouldn't have cared about that. And in fact, it was the last thing that I pursued. It was the last relationship I pursued. Because I just thought it was a big joke. It was just like this band-aid fix to all our problems. But I soon realized that relationship with God is legitimate because He loves us so much. That's something that I used to struggle to believe, because I used to think like, oh yeah, okay, He loves us. Oh yeah, okay, that's great. Awesome. But it's actually true in the fact that God sent His one and only Son. His one and only Son. to die for our sin and pay a debt that we could never pay. Like, imagine you're, you get into a car accident. You're not injured. You're perfectly fine. No cuts, no bruises. But imagine the impact of your car to like paramedics, to police. They don't understand like how you survived. Like, your car is a write-off, but it's a write-off. Like, it got completely demolished, yet you walked out without a scratch or a bruise. You're fine. Now imagine something happens with your insurance. They're refusing to give you a payout. They're refusing to pay, value worth of your car. And now you're stuck. What do? Do you walk like the 5-10 Ks to work every day? Because maybe you don't like catching public transport or a taxi or Uber or something like that, or you're unable to ride a bike or a scooter or whatever. What do? Well, I mean, you could go to get finance on a car, get a brand new car that way, but maybe you're not good with the bank. So what do? It's exactly the same when it comes to a relationship. If you feel lonely, do you pursue casual sex? If you're broken, do you start looking at pornography? If you're emotionally and mentally overwhelmed, do you go out and get drunk? It's the same in a relationship as in the circumstance with the car accident. What do? My recommendation is pursue relationship with God, because that's going to make the biggest difference. And when it comes to bullying, I personally think it's going to keep getting much worse. I don't think it's ever going to, I don't think it's going to get small. I'm not being, I'm not saying I don't believe that there's one day people are just going to wake up and realize, oh damn, I bullied that person into doing something that they're not going to be alive to change. I'm not saying that. I hopefully that happens, but just from what I've seen over the years, bullying's just got much worse. And to anyone that is bullying other people that might be listening to this episode, I would just encourage you, look at that person through their eyes. Try to see how they feel. Try to see how they think. Try to imagine how they're going to wake up the next day after you've constantly bullied them the previous day or the day before. Try to see their life through their eyes after the fact that you've been bullying them. Because I think my biggest regret was that when you're bullied, sometimes you feel like you have to bully other people just to make yourself feel good. And that's something I always regret. I regret treating my parents like crap, and my siblings, and just anyone and everyone. But thankfully, eventually when I told my parents what was truly going on, they were kind of, oh, now I understand why you took so much time off school. Now I understand, and this is coming from my mum years ago, like at least 15 years ago now, but just the conversation with mum, and my mum was like, now I get why, the neighbour would come over once my mum got home from work and said, I think I saw your son push his bike through the back gate, like about midday. Obviously I got in trouble and disciplined and all that sort of stuff, but just things like that. And even just, asking for forgiveness from my siblings when I became a Christian, because I realized, man, I treated them like crap, but yeah, anyway, I don't think I have anything else to say on this episode, so hopefully it encouraged you, and hopefully you can understand that bullying sucks, and we must do everything in our power to stop it, because you're either going to be someone that carries a bucket that has heaps of holes in it, but at least you're going to throw water on the fire of bullying to hopefully stop the fire spreading, or you're either going to be the person that carries a jerry can and continues to burn the fire that is bullying. This is actually a concept for a book I'm currently writing, so just future plug, I guess. Anyway, love you guys so much. Thank you for listening, and thank you for sticking with me. I love you.